Hey, this is Donna St. Louis and welcome today. Yesterday we talked about how to write emails that people will actually respond to. Well, today we're going to talk about how to write an email when you're following up, because we know that you really need to do those follow-ups. Like a lot of times we'll get in there and we'll have this fantastic template and we'll do that first email, but then we don't follow up after the fact. All we do is the first email, and then if we don't get a response in the first email, we give up. But it usually takes about 8 to 12 phone calls and even more emails just to get a response. So we're going to make sure that we're doing the follow-up. See, most salespeople and most people who have to do a sale, they give up really about after the third email, then they're out. So we want to make sure that we're hitting at least that 8 to 12 number and that we're following up properly. So let's talk about some of the things that people say when they follow up, because this is one of my favorite parts. They send an email that says, I'm checking in, or I'm touching base, or I'm just seeing what's going on. If you send an email that says checking in, touching base, or I just want to see what's going on, those are deleted in nanoseconds, because it sounds like you're being a really pesky salesperson, and so your email actually loses momentum, and so does the sale. Like the sale totally lacks momentum when you put in things like, I just want to follow up, or I just want to touch base. Those don't work. So we're going to get rid of that terminology. And it's a really common terminology. Like people use it a lot. But I'm going to tell you, take it out. Take it out. No more, I'm just touching base, or I'm just following up. It doesn't work. First, I want to congratulate you, by the way, if you are following up. Because again, most sales take 8 to 12 contacts, and most people stop at 3. So if you're at the 8 to 12 mark, then you're doing great. And by the way, if you want to know later in another show, I'll tell you exactly what I do when I'm sending out that very last email. Because here's the funny thing. Once I get to that last email, my response rate on the last email that I send is about 50 to 70%. Like people always respond to the last email, but I'm doing something a little risky, maybe even a little dangerous, but totally works. So let's just go through it. So first of all, first step, first rule, do not write follow-up or touching base. Don't put that in your email. Following up and touching base emails are actually deleted in a nanoseconds, because it has that sound of pesky salesperson and it kind of lacks momentum. So we want to use 3 strategies that really, really work. So here's the first strategy that you want to do. You want to re-emphasize value. That's huge. And how do you do that in your email? So you can actually open the email with something like, hi, Mike, you were on my mind. Or, hi, Mike, our last conversation really resonated with me. Or, hi, Mike, the last time we spoke, we talked about this. In other words, re-emphasize that you remember what you guys talk about. It wasn't just a willy-nilly conversation for you, and that it was as important to you as you hope it was to them. And so when you do that, what will happen is you're going to actually let them know that, yeah, I remembered our conversation. I cared about the conversation. It wasn't just a fly-by-night conversation for me. And now you're going to remind them of the value of your solution by identifying what they said their pain point was. So let's say that someone said that their pain point was that they were wasting too much money on internet, right? Then you could say, hey, Mike, you know, the last time we talked, one of the things that you talked about was how much money you were wasting on your internet service. I really thought about that, and I would love to have a follow-up conversation with you. I have some new ideas that will help you save more money. So now we've really made the connection. We've like, hey, I remember the conversation. I remember what your pain point was. That's that instant connection. And now you're going to go to the next step and go, I've found something, or I've thought about something extra, and I want to share that with you. Specifically, you have to look at their value, though, not what your values are, but the value they're trying to get out of your system. So, for example, if they want to save time, then you're going to actually put something in there in regards to efficiency. If they want to save money and its cost, then you're going to put something in there in regards to saving costs. If they want to make more money, then you're going to put something in there about increasing profits. If they want more efficiency, they want less work, then you're going to talk about something, you're going to say something like productivity and streamlining processes. In other words, whatever their pain point was, that's the point, that's what you really want to re-emphasize in that follow-up email. Okay, second type of follow-up email that really works is that you're going to share insights. So I want you to think about, you have a solution, something that you're obviously trying to sell. So what did you do with another company that has a problem similar to theirs that you can share? So for example, you could say, I'll even use my business. Oh, you know, I had another event planner that really wanted a speaker that was thinking outside of the box, and they wanted something unique. So I did the hot seat keynote, where it's a keynote on demand right there for your audience, right? And then I could talk about how another client really liked that type of keynote. So now I'm bringing it back to, hey, this is what another client did, this is what they really liked, and it gives you an opportunity to actually create kind of a referral source, right? So I want you to consider on that second one, you want to share insights. What did we do for someone else, and how was their challenge similar to your challenge, so now that we could do it for you? Some people even use this for case studies. They'll say, hey, let me send you a case study. And case studies are fantastic ways to do that. Again, you just want to personalize a little bit and make sure you say, I was thinking about our last conversation that you had this problem, and I went and did some research and found this case study that I think would be perfect, you know? So again, it's always that connection first, and then it's bringing in the solution. And then the last type of follow-up that you want to do is you want to continue to educate. So I always make a big deal when you're doing the daily 6, which is income production, relationship building, and professional development, that one of the things that you do in regards to professional development is not only educate yourself on a regular basis, but make sure you're educating your customer. This is one way to educate your customer. So you want to continue to educate them even in the follow-up. And this is how you do it. You want to say something like, you want to recognize the stress and the pressure that they're under and that they have to do something. So you want to say something like, I recognize that the decision that you have to make is a big one. It's a great opening statement. I recognize that this is something that you're taking very serious. When you say something like that, it's really hard for the customer to come back and go, no, I'm not thinking really seriously about it at all, right? They're like, oh yeah, this is important. So you want to make sure that you emphasize the importance of what they're talking about. And then after that, maybe share an article, even if it's not an article from your company, but maybe it's an article that backs up your position and backs up your solution. So you can take that article that backs up your solution and you can send that article as a means to continue to educate your client. So here are the recap of the 4 things that we learned today. Number 1, take out the words touching base or following up in your email, mainly because touching base and following up, those get deleted in nanoseconds. Those are just a way for you to say what's going on. It makes you sound like a pesky salesperson. No one wants that. Number 2, re-emphasize your value by making sure that you know that they were on your mind, and then remind them of how your solution solves their pain point. And then your follow-up number 2 is going to be, hey, this is the solution that we did with another company that had a challenge similar to yours. Sometimes these can be done in white papers. In fact, if you haven't made it into a white paper, you can make it into a white paper so you can share it with other clients. And then number 3, you want to use an opportunity to continue to educate by getting articles that may not be specific to your company, but may just back up your solution and why the solution consistently works. So you want to tell them that, hey, I recognize that this decision is a big one, making sure that you are not taking this lightly, you're taking it as seriously as they are, and then share an article with them that helps back up your solution. Do you know that if you did that, if you just did that, you would already be doing 3 follow-ups? You'd be doing 3 follow-ups, even if you went back and repeated these same 3 types of follow-ups. So in other words, I did the first one, 3 days later or 2 days later I did the second one, 2 or 3 days later I did the third one. When you can actually go back around and do the re-emphasizing of value and then sharing the insights and then continue to educate. That would get you to 6. You can do it again, that would get you to 9. Since it takes 8 to 12 contacts to close a deal, you would already be at the 9 point. All you've done is kind of redone the same type of email over and over again. You've done it 3 times. Here's the other cool thing that you could do. Once you've done that, so you've reached out to them 9 times, and let's say you've reached out to this client now, your initial, you've done the 9 times, so this is 10 times, and they have not responded. So I have this thing that I do on the last email, and it works for me and my personality. You have to really make sure that you do this for your personality, because if it's not your personality, you're not going to be able to pull it off. But I'll do something like this. I'll say, hey, Barbara, I've sent you 10 emails now, and I'll put in there, I've sent you 10 emails over the past month, but I haven't heard from you, and now I'm starting to get worried. So all I need you to do is respond with one letter. And then I'll have maybe 4 things on there. A, I think you're crazy, go away, don't ever contact me again. I don't even know how you got my phone number. Who is this? So that's their first response. B, you know, I'm interested, but the timing is wrong. Can you get back to me in about 3 months? C, I usually say something like, you know, I've been in meetings. I'm really interested right now. Can you give me a call within the next week? And then D, help. I am buried under a bunch of papers under my desk. I've been here for weeks. No one has found me. Can you come and save my life? Right? And I'm going to tell you, I get a lot of responses from that. People usually respond with LOL, I'm so sorry, I've been busy, da da da. They give me a full explanation email, but the point is that the lead is not dead. The opportunity is still available just by doing that. So give this a shot, and that will help you make sure that you're closing more business when you send out follow-up emails that actually work. This is Dawnna St. Louis, and I'll see you next time.